Vertical and partial penetration wells. In this short video, it is not possible to cover all available options and parameter values. Please refer to the help for more detailed information. This file contains one rate sequence and 3 different pressure gauges. The first pressure gauge is called vertical. Select Extract from the toolbar on the left. On the left, under the header Extraction Source, we can select the pressure gauge, the rate gauge, and which event to see on the diagnostic log-lot plot. By default, the program has selected the last buildup. However, we could choose any other period, either by clicking on the production event drop-down list, or alternatively, do it graphically by selecting the large plus icon and clicking the desired period in the plot. In this case, we select the last period. The lesser used options are by default rolled up, but can be accessed by clicking on the down arrow. The smoothing parameter is by default 0.1. We can increase this if our data is particularly noisy. It is generally not recommended to use a value greater than 0.3. The value for the filtration parameter defines the maximum number of points displayed per log cycle. In individual extraction parameters, the value for the pressure at the start of the buildup can be defined. Click OK and observe the default screen layout with the history, the semi-log and diagnostic log-log plots. The default scale of the history plot is in hours, but we can select any other time scale such as UTC, local time, or standard time. We now turn our attention to the diagnostic log-lot plot. Double-click on the top bar of the plot to make it full screen. To select our analytical model to start the analysis, click on the Tools icon at the top to open the Tools window. Here we select the well, reservoir, and boundary models we wish to use. A common start is to use a finite radius vertical well with constant wellbore storage and an infinite homogeneous reservoir. Click OK. Click on the icon Show Tool Parameters at the top and observe the parameter values of the lines in the log-lot plot. Moving the lines changes the values in the Tool Parameter box. After positioning the lines to match the pressure data, close this box and reduce the plot to its normal size. Now go to the analytical model. We can see the values selected by moving the lines to the correct position are transferred into the model, and the program has calculated an initial value for the skin. Clicking on the Generate button will calculate the pressures over the total producing period using our selected model parameters. The last step is to go to Improve and select which parameters we wish to improve. All parameters have, by default, a minimum and maximum value, but these are adjustable. Under the Targets tab, we can deselect points we do not wish to use during the improve by clicking on the filter icon and making a lasso around the points we do not want to use. We can also change the weighing of points by selecting them using either the lasso option or the time interval option. We reset all points to have an equal weighing by clicking on the Reset Filter icon. Next, click Run and SAPHIR will vary the model parameters to achieve a best fit on the pressures. After the improve, we can see the values of the main parameters of the matched model in the top right window on the screen. Next, we will make a standard semi-log straight line match. We can select the interval either on the semi-log or the log-log plot. The log-log plot is often the best indicator where the well might see an infinite acting radial flow, so we will use this. Right-click on the plot, select Single Line, and then click and drag the cursor over the region where the derivative forms a straight horizontal line. There is now a straight line in the semi-log plot. Maximize this and select Icon Results in Plot. This will display all the information about the straight line match, including the productivity, indices, and P-star. Minimize the semi-log plot. The full results of the match model and semi-log straight line can be seen under the results icon in the top toolbar. In this window, we can select some or all parameters with Ctrl-A, Right-click, select Copy, and the selected parameters and their values are copied into the clipboard from where we can paste them into another program. Close this window. To print the results and plots, go to the section Additional Tools and click Preview. Here, select which pages we wish to print. Close the Print Preview and go back to the Analysis tab. We will now do a second analysis using some of the data from the first analysis. Click New and note we can select from which analysis we wish to start, or simply start again from scratch. Selecting an existing analysis allows us to copy some or all the input parameters. We select Existing Analysis but deselect all the tick boxes. Click OK, and now we go through all the initial steps where we start a new analysis, but with the values from the previous analysis pre-filled. This makes it easy to change any of the basic parameters. Click through the steps and see now a new Analysis tab with pressure and rate data. Change the pressure channel at the top to Limited Entry. Again, we will extract the last buildup for analysis. As this is the default option in the extraction dialog, we can use a shortcut. Click Shift on the keyboard and see that the extraction icon now displays a flash, an indication that the automatic extract is active. Click on the icon and the program extracts the delta P of the last shut-in with the default extraction values. Maximize the log-lot plot and open the Tools window. Select the Limited Entry Well model and click OK. We now see two additional lines on the plot. The first horizontal line is the initial limited entry stabilization line. The two horizontal lines are connected by a minus half slope line, indicative of spherical flow. Select Show Tool Parameters. The wellbore storage line appears to fit the early time data, so we leave that where it is. The same applies for the horizontal KH line. We know that the well has a perforated interval of 12 feet, so we enter that value in the Tool Parameters box. Next, move the minus half slope line to match the end of the wellbore storage. Close the Tool Parameters window and reset the log-lot plot to its normal size. Click on the Analytical Model icon and see that the well model is set to limited entry and the parameters have the values of our manual model match. The assumption here is that the well is in the middle of the reservoir. We can select the position of the inflow section with the parameter ZW. Check the definition of the well parameters by clicking the reservoir icon at the bottom of the window. This launches the help file showing schematics of the well, reservoir, and boundary types. Click Generate to make an initial match. We no longer need the Tools line in the plot, so clean up the display by a right-click in the plot and deselecting Show Tools. Change the name of the analysis by double-clicking on the tab and change the name to Limited Entry. The last model we want to show is changing wellbore storage. Make a copy of the Limited Entry analysis by clicking New Analysis and select the Keep All Input Parameters option. Change the pressure gauge to Changing Wellbore Storage and do an automatic extraction of the delta pressure by selecting Shift Extract. Observe on the diagnostic log-log plot that the early time pressure and derivative data points are not on a unit slope straight line. Maximize the plot, and in the Tools section, select Changing Wellbore Storage and the well model to Finite Radius. Click OK and tick the option Show Tool Parameters. We now have to move the 3 points to match the early time data. Notice that the shape is very sensitive to small changes in the position of the 3 control points. Make an approximate match and minimize the window after closing the box. We can use the shortcut for the initial match by pressing the Shift key and clicking on Analytical Model. This will copy the data from the manual match into the model and generate the pressures. Finally, go to Improve to refine the match. If we want to improve on all parameters, we can once again use the Shift key as a shortcut. Finally, we change the name of the analysis to Changing Wellbore Storage. We can compare the different analyses by clicking the Compare icon at the top. In this window, we select All to see all the different models and tick the Data box to include the pressure data of the relevant gauges. We can also see all the parameters of the selected models by clicking on the Results icon. To return to the original screen layout, click the Close button in the Compare window. This concludes this session in SAPHIR.